name's Nikki and welcome to my Flosstube video. This is video number 5 and you found me on my channel, Nikki Noodle Stitching. I hope you've all been going well. Everything here is going well. We've had a lot of rain over the past couple of weeks. The sun's shining today though, so that's really great. We had a lot of rain and there's been a lot of flooding around the place. And the big cleanup is happening now. Our house went fine. We live on a hill, so the floodwaters didn't reach us, but there have been many people affected by the floods. So that's a bit sad. A lot of property damage, a lot of livestock lost. But you know, I guess that's just the weather, isn't it? That's just the droughts and flooding rains that characterise Australia and many parts of the world. Anyway, it's been about 3 weeks since I did my last video. Life's been pretty busy, work's been crazy, and also I've had fungus on my lip. Not really fungus, a cold sore. I had the biggest cold sore ever and I didn't think you'd want to see it because it was gross. Anyway, it's nearly better. It looks like that I've you know, had an accident with my lipstick, but I haven't. That's just cold sore residue. Anyway, moving right along. Thank you so much once again for everybody's lovely comments. Still enjoy reading them very, very much. They certainly brighten my days, so thank you. Also a big thank you to Nicola from Bumble Stitches who gave me a shout out, which was really lovely. Thank you, Nicola. Nicola's going so well with her stitching. She's delving into higher count linens. So she's been very brave and she's going super well. So it's great watching your progress, Nicola. And I love all the things that you stitch and your bags that you make. I really enjoy Nicola's channel. So if you haven't watched Nicola before, her channel, as I said, is Bumble Stitches. She's from the UK. I understand from the east coast of the UK in England. Really worth having a watch. She's really lovely. I love watching Nicola. Today it's Sunday here today, so we're all at home. The kids are at home, so you might hear them walking up and down the hall, which is behind me here, and you also might hear the lawnmower going. My husband Don is out on the lawnmower, so now that the rain's gone, it's time to cut the grass, so he's off doing that, working hard. Stitching, let's get into it. So what have I been up to? I've been doing all sorts of stitching lately, but the first thing I wanted to share with you was this quilt top that I finally had quilted. I finished the top some time ago and I never got around to sending it off to the quilter. So I did do that. I think it's in a white thread, so you probably can't see it very well, the quilting, but you can see the patchwork that I've done. And this is, this was a kit that I got from the Fat Quarter shop. Gee, I think it's a 2012, it was a 2012 mystery block of the month. So it had all different designers designing each of the different blocks, and then it was using fabric by Bonnie and Camille, who I just love their fabrics. I love the red, the turquoise, the white. So that's that one. It's really big, which is great. I love big quilts. And I'll get Blake to insert a picture in a sec. Just to show you the whole thing spread out, just in case you're interested. They're all 12-inch blocks. So I had a lot of fun making this one. And all I've got left to do is to stitch the binding on. Lots of people these days like to sew it on with the sewing machine. That's not my preferred way to do binding. I still love the old hand stitched binding, but it has been a little bit too warm still here to do that. So it's starting to cool off now, which is a bit sad. Summer's over. We're into autumn here. Some of the trees are starting to lose their leaves, which is very sad. We hardly had it where I live. We hardly had a summer. It was very mild, so yeah, I'm not quite ready for winter yet, but anyway. What else have I been up to? Last weekend I had a really enjoyable weekend hanging out with some stitchy friends, I did a class, two classes actually, at my friend Lisa's patchwork shop just up the road from me at Karamba, and her shop's called Nesting Needles. The first day we just did basic quilt construction, which, you know, is fine. That was really fun, just hanging out with some friends. And the second day, on the Sunday, I decided to do the workshop to make this little bag thingy. It's this little bag, and it is based on a By Any pattern. And I'll show the pattern to you because I've got it here. Take it out of the plastic. Not very prepared. And it's this pattern here, which is called Just In Case. And I actually thought it was bigger than it has ended up being. So I'm not sure it's going to be terribly useful for what I, you know, had planned to use it for. But now that I've made the one, I think I can just expand the pattern myself to make a bigger case, and it would be more useful for the sorts of things that I like to do, like cross stitch, that sort of stuff. Now that's that pattern. And as I said, this is the little bag. So it's pretty basic. These are just the fabrics I chose. Just some, this is an older Cafe print, and these are just some complementary fabrics, and it's got some more Cafe prints on the inside. And you'll see here, this is a vinyl pocket that you can see in here, and it's just put the zipper in. So I was learning how to do all the binding and how to sew the vinyl in place, that sort of thing. And on this end, there's another zipper, and this is mesh. So potentially I think it would be really useful for things like some of the Hands Across the Sea charts where I'm using the Veriswa 103. I think the mesh side would be really good for holding all of those 103s in place without them rolling around everywhere. And of course this side for the chart and the cross stitch itself. So I think potentially it could be a very useful type of bag. This one's just a little bit small. That's about half an A4 size thing, and that would fit in there, but anything bigger than that's not big enough. So anyway, but that was really good fun. We had to quilt all the fabric before the class, and it's actually got a little magnetic clasp, a little hidden magnet in here, so it does magnetize closed. Anyway, so that was really good fun. That was last weekend. What else? Oh, I have had a cross stitch finish, and it was this one, Fracta Flowers by La Di Da. So that's it there. I've always got family looking at me through the window. Today it's the dog, Bonnie. She's a Springer Spaniel, and she's standing at the window looking at me, wanting me to let her in. There's no way. She's got very muddy feet today. Anyway, so that's Fracta Flowers by La Di Da. I really enjoyed that stitching in the end. I know I moaned and moaned about this one in the chart, how horrible it was. But I pushed through it and ended up loving doing this little stitch. I love the flowers, the bird. I think the chart suggests that you put your initials in the year down here. But I didn't want to do that. So I just left that off, and that's it. Cute. Okay, I have rummaged through the smelly box again, guys, and found a couple more stinky finishes that I just thought I'd share with you. I have never had them framed, as you'll see. I can't even remember who the designers were. This one is just of a teddy. It's I would guess you would say on the bottom at least, and the teddy himself, it's almost full coverage, I guess. So I did that one. I don't even know when I did this, but I thought he was really cute and a little bit samplerish. He's got an alphabet here, which is really cute, but tons of backstitching, which there's no way I would do that these days. Backstitching is not my favourite thing to do. But he's very cute, and he's got a little other teddy sitting down here. And that was stitched on a what looks like to be a 14 count Ada, and I think I remember this was a kit, I think. So that would have been, I would have used everything in the kit for that one. So that's cute, little red house. Probably worth getting framed, but you know, I have plenty of things that I want to get framed first. And then this is another one that I found in the stinky box. And this was one I did, I remember when I did this one, this was 1996. I had just finished university and had moved to Sydney to take up a job in between studying and a professional job. So I was just working in a warehouse, a sewing threads warehouse. Not great, but you know, paid the bills. And I remember doing a lot of cross stitch at that time there. And this was one of the ones I did when I lived in Sydney. And that's it. That's really cute. I really like this one. I don't know, it wasn't a kit. I remember I bought all of the little pieces on their own, and I remember getting these little stars. They were like an iron-on star just to put on there, which around the bunny and the moon. And this here is a wooden button. This here is, you can see it's an actual button on the love heart. I think that one's quite cute too. A bit sampler-ish, primitive probably more than sampler. So that was that guy. Okay, so works in progress. What have I been working on the last few weeks? I have, typical of me, I've been flipping and flopping and not being able to settle on anything in particular to stitch on. So I've stitched on quite a few different things, most of which you've all seen before, but I've made a little bit of progress on some of them, so I'll share them with you. So, oh, before I get on to that, I have got my book of days, and I thought I'd just flash my, I have been Brenda and Laura-ing it up by putting lots of stickers all over it. Isn't this one cute? A little sausage dog that says "so busy" because work was really busy that day. Well, my work's busy most days, but. And then this one, all these cute kitty cats. Now I have these 2 stitching days, no, not stitching days. These were 2 days that I did no stitching because of work. So I have actually ordered from Etsy some poo emoji stickers to put on there because they are pooey days when I don't get to stitch. So they will be going on there when they arrive. All of the other days, oh, they are just the best days. And look at this little teddy bear hanging upside down and the pussycat. So that's really fun. I'm really enjoying my book of days and documenting everything that I've been up to. So I thought you might want to see that. Anyway, back to whips. Oh, where did I put that one? I've just lost one. Where did I put it? Hold please. Sorry about that, it fell on the floor. So my first one that I'll show is this little one. Petite Filet en Rouge from GGR. And I did work on this a bit, and you might want to give me my marching orders because it's pretty close to a finish. So you can see her there. She's very sweet. I was a little bit, I didn't love this, the pink in this flower. It didn't show up very well, but it's still got to have a few green leaves around the edge. So I think once I do that, it might show up a little bit better. You can see I just toddled off after, you know, midway through one thread. I didn't finish it off and then go to bed or whatever. It's just left dangling there looking ugly. So that's her. And the other thing that I will do, these, I think it's a bunny and a dog, but I could be wrong. But their eyes called for a red colour, and I don't like red-eyed creatures. They've got a bit of an evil look. Ew. So I'll just go to my stash and get a brown or something like that, something that I think will look nice. Nicer than a red eye. Just a bit creepy. So that's that one, and I'm stitching that on a 36 count sepia coloured linen from number 12 Stitch Co. And I just love it. It's a really beautiful linen, really beautiful. I've got lots left, so I can use it for something else. But you can see the it's quite an accurate reflection of the colour there. It's sort of got a warm pinky tone with some brown grey overtones, so it's a really nice linen. So that's that one. Next one is Emily Harvin from Christina at Whilst Iris Naps. And I'll just have a little look for the chart, it's not the chart, the pattern cover to let you know what one I'm talking about. So that's Emily Harvin, 1824. And this is another one. I'm stitching on another number 12 Stitch Co linen. This one's a 40 count. I can't remember which one it's called. I think it's Rain Cloud. Just to tick, I've got the, yep, Rain Cloud, 40 count. So that's that one. I just love this one. And part of the reason I'm loving it is I am a silk enthusiast, like my friend Betsy Klager in Colorado in the US. Stitching with silk is just so beautiful. So I haven't done a whole lot more, but I have done some of the border. This is the top, just here. And I've started, I can't see what I'm doing, I'll just fold that a bit more. So you can see this only calls for 2 colours. And I decided to use Gloriana, the green is a Gloriana Silk in Forest Green, and the yellowy colour is a Water Lilies. And the colour of that is Old Gold. So you can see that's Old Gold there. It's just really pretty. I think the called for colour was a DMC 3045. So I thought that was quite similar. And then this is the Gloriana in Forest. So it's quite a variegated green. And that's the little amount I've done. Again, I've just sort of finished mid-row, mid-stitch, and moved on. So I worked on that for a couple of nights, not for very long, because I was a bit unsettled again. So that's that one. Next one I've been working on is Anne Morrison. This one is the Stitch Along with Traditional Stitches in Canada. I just love this one. This one's a Scottish sampler, and I love all the colours. And I'm stitching it in all of the called for Iveriswa silks. So that's all of those. Look at that red there. That is just beautiful. Pretty, pretty. Anyway, I was having trouble with this one because I normally use a small hoop to stitch in, but I was finding that on this 45 count Jersey cream linen from Legacy, I just couldn't see the holes well enough. So I ended up having a little sticky beak on Etsy to see if I could find some scroll frames, and I actually found a couple of sets actually on Etsy. And I've never used a scroll frame before, but I thought it was cheap enough. So I bought it and had a go, and I'm finding it so great to use this scroll frame. I understand this is an easy stitch scroll frame, and it's got the scroll bars have got the webbing on it, so I just hand stitched Anne Morrison to those bars and then tightened it up, and off I've been going. So I've done a little bit on her. I'm still well behind on the stitch along, which is very typical of me. I can't keep up on these things. But I think I've done, I think that was January, that was February, no, December, January, and now I'm on to the February. I'm catching up on February. So I'm not too far behind if I just keep that up. But it is 45 count. It's not my favourite. I enjoy it, but it's not my favourite linen. I think, as I've said over and over again, 40 is my favourite because it's just my sweet spot. It's just what I enjoy stitching the most. So that's that one. I can't stitch this in hand. I don't stitch in hand at all. I've actually got a neurological disease that means that the nerves and muscles in my hands and feet are wasting away. So it's called Charcot-Marie-Tooth. It's an unusual name for a disease, but that's the name it has. And it just means that my left hand is very weak, and I can't hold the linen in such a way that I can stitch. So that's why I use a hoop, and now I'm sort of moving on to scroll frames. I can't stitch. I'm a stabber. I stab down and then I stab up with my right hand. I can't do two-handed stitching, and that's partly because of this disease and the fact that I've got my fine motor skills in my left hand are pretty pathetic, really. I can't do anything with precision with my left hand, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It is what it is, and you just got to do what you can do. And I'm quite happy stabbing. That sounds terrible. I'm quite happy just to do cross stitching that way. So yeah, so that's Anne. So I'm loving Anne. I do love this colour of this linen. It's just a really lovely warm white, I guess it is. Okay. What else have I been working on? Told you I've been flitting here, flitting there. This is Ragamuffin 2. So I have been working on it a little more. Not much more, but a little bit more. I only pulled this one out last night, I think it was, for the first time in a while. And I've done a little bit more of the alphabet. Which I did these letters just this morning, which I'm excited to be doing, because now that I've got these in, there's all some of the little motifs under here will be easier to get to, now that I've got some landmarks to use to start putting those motifs in. But I think the white, I'm quite happy with the white that I chose. You can sort of see those there on those bottom flowers. This is a really pretty chart, this one. I really love it. So I'm looking forward to getting that one out again. And that's a 40 count platinum linen from Zweigart. And that's using all of the called for threads except for the white, which I changed out because it wasn't showing up on my fabric. So I can't remember what the called for was, but I'm now using Fresh Snow. So they're all of the colours. They're all silk. So pretty. I haven't used that one yet. That's an NPI. That's a pretty colour. They're all pretty. So that's those. Do you want to see the chart? Might be helpful so you know what I'm yabbering on about. Not in there. Sorry guys, I thought I was more organised. Here we go. That's it there. Isn't that pretty? Love it. So they're the letters I did this morning. I think I did the N and the O and the P. So I might, once I finish filming this floss tube, I might go out and stitch this little bird and its leaves, which would be fun. That's the sort of hoop I normally use. One of these little spring-loaded things. Because I find I can sort of wedge it into the palm of this left hand and I can just hold it there just nicely so I can stitch. Anyway, shove that back in there. Okay, so they are my whips that I've been working on over the last 3 weeks. There's a few there. And I've been a little bit naughty. Not naughty. I mean, I have had a few new starts, but you know, is that really naughty? I don't think so. It's doing what we love. Starting new things and stitching. So, I have started a start along with my stitchy BFF, Betsy Klager from Colorado. Check her out, she's on Flosstube and she's also on Instagram. She's hilarious, she's so smart, she's so kind and considerate, and she loves cats. What more could you want in a friend? Anyway, so we've started a chart together, and anybody out there is free. Please feel free to join us if you're interested. If not, don't join us. It is called The Feathered Whisperers by Barbara Anna. So this is the chart there, and the reason we chose this one was because of this big cat in the corner. I'm going to be stitching my cat Frosty in here, so leaving off those spots because Frosty's just pure white. And Betsy is going to be stitching her pussycat Hamilton, who's a tuxedo cat. And she's beautiful, she's a gorgeous cat. And Betsy loves her. So that's what we're stitching. We both started this last weekend, or I think Betsy might have started it last Monday, but whatever. And neither of us, this is an antique reproduction, and the original one, I'm so disorganised. Sorry guys, must be so annoying seeing me rustling through my paper. Anyway, that's the actual antique there, and you can see it's got this really heavy border on it, and I'm not a fan of that. I much prefer this one. So that's what Betsy and I are both stitching. So Betsy started up in the top somewhere, whereas I always start down the bottom. So I get to the good stuff. So this is the pussycat, or it's the bed thing that the pussycat is sleeping on. So that's my little measly start. And I'm stitching this one on a 40 count Cafe au lait from Zweigart. I understand that it's also known as sand. The colour is sand, or Cafe au lait. So I bought a nice big piece of that from a Stitch in Time in Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. And that's really fun to do. And I'm using all of the called for DMCs for this one, and there's some really lovely colours, some unusual colours for samplers that I've stitched. This is in like a navy blue, so that's fun, pretty. So that's that one. I've also started Harrietta. I was banging on about Harrietta for quite a while. Excuse me, I've just got to bend over and pick it up from off the floor. Gosh. Anyway, so let me show you Harrietta first. Chart. I really thought I was nice and organised today, but not, obviously. That's Harrietta. And I had been banging on about her for a bit, saying I wanted to start her. I want to have her finished by Easter. That's not going to happen. See? That is pathetic. What a pathetic little start. Am I showing you the back? No, I'm not. Showing you the correct side. So that's that. It's only tiny. Look, I've cut the fabric to size and all. She's only little. But I just, samplers have just been calling my name. Nikki, stitch me. Aren't they pretty? And the funniest comment on one of my Flosstubes when I was talking about this fabric, this is a 40 count summer khaki. And one of my new stitchy friends, and I think she's from the US, she said, oh, that sounds like an interesting coloured linen. I'll have a look for it. So she went and she hopped onto Google and she put in the name khaki, and she spelt it C-A-R space K-E-Y, as in brum brum. How good humoured of her to share that with us all. Sorry, I don't know. That's how I say khaki. How do Americans and, well, British people, I would assume, would say khaki the same way? Or do you say khaki? Khaki. Let me know. I thought that was hilarious. I laughed and laughed at that. Summer khaki. Okay, so that's Harrietta. I might get back onto her this week, but I'm not feeling it. So if I'm not feeling it, I'm not doing it. Okay, one that I have been feeling is this cool one that my friend Lisa gave to me when I visited her shop a few weeks ago. And this is a reproduction of a reproduction of a cross stitch that was stitched by a little girl named Catherine Pickling in 1780 when she was 7 years old. And I have done some research because it was missing Catherine's details in here, so I thought, I wonder if I'm going to be able to find a picture on the internet of the original. And amazingly, I did find it, which I was really thrilled about. So I'll get Blake to insert a picture of the original sampler just here. So based on the original, I was able to chart what that box should say. And I use just a free online stitch charting app, I guess it would be. It's called Stitch Fiddle. And I got on there and I just mocked up what it should look like. And it's Catherine Pickling. Her work, aged 7 years, 1780. Now it wasn't, I did it as best as I could. The photograph, as you probably saw, is a bit grainy, so I couldn't really zoom in that well so I was able to exactly replicate each of the stitches. But I think this was, I'm pretty happy with this. I'll show you in haul. I got the Brenda Keys sampler book with all of the motifs that she's collated over the years. And I used some of her alphabets as well to get an idea of the spacing of the lettering and the little kicks on the K and all of that sort of stuff, and how the G was done. So I reckon that was not a bad effort. So I'm looking forward to stitching that. So this is where I've gotten to on it. Started the scaffolding. I'm stitching it on a 40 count platinum from Zweigart. So far I've used all of the DMC threads in the kit, but I'm sort of keen to start the house because, you know, the houses are fun to stitch. And these are all of the DMC threads, but the colour that's called for the house is this one here, which is a DMC 760, and it's quite a lolly pink. Doesn't look on the screen there. It's softer than it actually is in real life. It's quite a bright pink. I don't know. It's not my favourite. So what I've decided to do is to swap it out with a fairly close pink, but just toned down a bit. And it's this Gentle Art Sampler Threads Antique Rose. So if we look at them next to each other on the screen, you can see that they're similar. I mean, the same colour family, but the Antique Rose is just a little bit toned down. It's a darker pink, but it's also a softer colour. So hopefully that will look nice. And it's quite is it variegated? Yeah, it's a reasonably variegated thread, so it might help it's got bricks on this little house, so hopefully that might make those bricks show up nicely and give it that little bit of brick variation that you do see in real life. So that's what I thought. And I might also, the other colour that I thought I might end up switching out is it's an anchor thread, and it's this one. And similarly to that pink that's in it, it's a little bit sort of lolly green. Is there such a colour as lolly green? Sort of an apple green, that is, I think. And that's not, I think it needs a little bit more of a browny green. So I'll probably switch that one out as well. But otherwise, the colours are really quite pretty. That red's a really nice one. That's 355, sort of a rusty red, which is nice. And 407, DMC 407. So I'll show you again. So I'm ready to put the letters in as well that I've charted. That's all ready to go. That little box is done. And that should be quite fun. So that's that one. Really enjoying that one. Okay. So that brings me to plans. Now I'm not going to say too much about what my plans are because it always goes out the window. I never do what I say I'm going to do. So, but there is one thing that I'm guaranteed to do. My nose is so itchy. Why? Why does it do that? It's never itchy like that. Oh, driving me insane. Okay. Focus. So, plans. One thing I'm definitely going to be doing, and that's another start, and it's a stitch along. So I'm bad at stitch along, so I'm going to convert into a start along. So I'll start this absolutely gorgeous little Blackbird Designs chart called Strawberry Fields Forever. I love that one. And this is part of a stitch along that Kathleen from Stitchuation Normal from Canada and her friend Merrick, I understand, have joined forces in putting this sale together, and I think that's called the hashtag Strawberry Pickin' Sale. I'll put it in the drop down box, the correct hashtag, so if you're interested you can follow along. That's that one. So I'll start this one soon, and I'm planning to start it on, I've got a piece of R&R Winter Brew. I'm not sure what it calls for. Let me just have a little sticky bit. It's a Confederate Grey by Weeks, but I think I think that goes, you know, looking at the chart there, I think that would be a pretty nice substitute. And I do love the R&R fabrics. I wish you could get them more easily in Australia. You can't. Sometimes you can get them, most of the time you can't. Anyway, so that's what I'm looking to start soon, and I've got all the little threads jumbled together there, ready to start. The start along. So please check out Kathleen. She's a lot of fun. Just getting into cross stitching. She's doing well too. Okay, I'm rushing now because I've just had a notice on my phone to say that my battery's low. Haul. Hardly any haul this week. I did buy a little bit of fabric from a Stitching Time in Hobart, Tasmania, and that's just as I got flax, which is that. And I reckon, this is what I reckon, R&R Winter Brew looks like flax that's been overdyed with tea or coffee. That's what it looks like to me. So maybe I'll give this one a dunk. I do love coffee, so I'll have to mix up a brew to dunk some of this in to see if I can get a similar colour, because that would be fun. This is the book I was talking about before, Ultimate Sampler Motif Source Book. An amazing book. Oh, the houses in it are just amazing, and the borders, and the insects. A page of dogs, cows, deer, birds. I never had a desire to create my own sampler, but since I got this, might be on the cards one day. some more haul. I did track down the Botany Bay sampler by Fox and Rabbit Designs. So that's one that I've got to be honest, I don't know how I feel about this one. I guess this is further to Jacob de Graaf from Modern Folk Embroidery and Denise from Black Ribbon Studios, talking about an awareness of what was going on in many parts of the world at the time that these samplers were being stitched. This is a reproduction of an antique sampler that I understand is in a museum in Australia now. It's a Scottish sampler, but it's depicting scenes from Botany Bay, which was that part of Australia that was first, what would you say, Captain Cook, the person from Europe, from England, who first set foot on Australian soil in 1778, around that time. Botany Bay. It's a very controversial history for Australia. Controversial in the sense that many regard it as an invasion day. It was assumed that Australia was not settled by humans at that time, but it was. Aboriginal Australians had occupied Australia for up to 65,000 years prior. And the reason I say that is because on this chart you can see here 3 little black figures, and I don't know what they represent on this chart. I'm not sure whether they are Aboriginal prisoners or Aboriginal guards. I don't know what they are, but at the moment I'm not terribly comfortable with this chart because I don't know its history. I don't know what it symbolises, so I'm going to be doing some investigating, mainly from the perspective of increasing my awareness of what's reflected in this chart, to recognise the history of others. You know, I'm a white woman of European descent. I want to be aware of the history behind these samplers and what others saw and what others experienced beyond my own heritage and my own experiences. It's an awareness thing for me. It's just making myself aware of what went on in Australia at the time that this sampler would have been stitched, because not everybody had a great experience at that time. So, but nonetheless, all that aside, it's a beautiful chart. It's very historic. It tells a story. The person that stitched this was telling a story, and I wanted to understand that story and perhaps the other perspectives that fed into this story. That is really not very eloquent how I've said all of that, but it's just about learning and about opening your eyes and understanding others' perspectives. So that's that one. The other one I got was just a fun one. Well, they're all fun, really. But this one it's in one of those horrible bags. This is a Victorian Rose Needle Arts, and it's called Francis Pink 1785. And I haven't ever stitched a Adam and Eve chart before, but if ever I'm going to stitch an Adam and Eve chart, it's got to be this one. Look at the funky Adam and Eve. Can you see what they're doing? They are just too cool for school. And I just love that one too. So that's another one I got from Stitching Time in Hobart, Tasmania. Great store, great shop, great service. Slow to get the stuff, but that's not their fault. That's the postal service. Okay, guys, that's it. That's all my stitching that I wanted to share. But I did want to have what do they call it? It's to pass the stash. What's it called? Share the love. I'll call it share the love. Giveaway, my first giveaway. So now that I've finished Fracta Flowers, I'm going to share the chart. So if you would like an opportunity for me to send this to you, please like my video and be a subscriber. I know how to check that now. Whatever. Just, if you want an opportunity to get this one from me, just use the word flower. You can just use the word flower, or you can put it into a sentence. You can tell me what flowers you like, whatever you want to do, but just use the word flower, and I will try and work out how to use the random comment picker and send this off to someone that's interested. I'll send it anywhere. I don't care if you live in Greenland or the UK or the US or South Africa. I'll send it anywhere. So that will be fun. All right, guys, that's it. I'm sorry it was a bit of a mangled floss tube today. Quite disorganised. I thought I was really organised. I had everything ironed and everything stacked in order, but anyway, you get that. That's life. Alrighty, well, as always, take care, look after yourself and your family and all your loved ones. Happy stitching. If you've got any comments, you know where to leave them in the comment box. I'm on Instagram, NikkiNoodle74. That's it. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.